Message from Sunnah followers. This is from Sheikh Saleh. We need to unite. Sisters, wear your hijab, wear your beards, be proud of your beards. Stay home, stay in your home. Stand up, unite, and stand for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
That's right, Saleh. We all should stand up in solidarity, not transgressing the limits of Allah, but standing together with patience and understanding. This is Sunnah followers.
With dignity, humility, and balance.
If you want to learn about how to balance and maintain your faith every day, you need to be here at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, being taught by Ustadah Laila Nasheeba, streaming on all major platforms. Channel Sunnah followers. Hope to see you there, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum. This is Yusuf and this is Ayub. And if you are benefiting like we are from the classes and the ongoing programming and tuning into the Sunnah followers, please donate. Let this be an ongoing sadaqah jariyah on your behalf. You're helping the kids, the conference, and everyone seeking knowledge. And it's a wealth of information every day you tune in. Don't forget, you are being rewarded for your generous donations to keep this programming on air. You know, just like what you're hearing, put your dollar where the dollar's at, right here on Sunnah Followers. Don't forget, donate right here to Sunnah Followers and dollars at. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Listen, we are in dire need of donations to keep these shows running and available for you 24/7. So that means when you're in the car, it's available for you to listen to. Whether you're at work, streaming, playing a game, it's available for you to listen to. Rowing your deen and learning about the beautiful, beautiful, beautiful different topics of Islam. Listen, one of the heaviest deeds that could be placed on your scale on the Day of Judgment is Sadaqah Jariyah. Yes, I know, I'm trying to build deeds daily. So you can too. So listen, feel free, and please, from the bottom of your heart, donate to this wonderful cause, wonderful website and platform to continually push out shows that will benefit you and the Muslim Ummah. Yes, you can donate by going to the sunnahfollowers.net website, pressing the donate tab. You can also scan the QR code in YouTube on the far left top of our videos that are streaming. Listen, guys, this is very important, and take this as important. We want to keep this programming available for you 24/7 so that you have access in your car, anywhere you choose to tune in to this wonderful programming. Yes, guys, it's all at your disposal. So listen, feel free to donate. Once again, remember, Sadaqah Jariyah, one of the heaviest deeds on your scale on the Day of Judgment.
The Maqasidic Tafsir.
Where should I begin when I'm starting at the end? Pursuing the higher aim, learning the meaning of every page. Where should I begin when I'm starting at the end?
Another addition to your Islamic education, Maqasidic Tafsir, Healing and Government, the Transformative Path of Sabah as-Tiwal, written by Dr. Karim Abuzaid. Join Ustadah Laila Nasheeba every Tuesdays and Thursdays at 9:30 p.m., streaming all major platforms, channel Sunnah Follower.
Ina alhamdulillah, wa salat, wa salam ala wa rasulallah. I'd like to welcome everybody to our Maqasidic Tafsir class. And this is a class whereas we're studying from the book entitled The Maqasidic Tafsir, Volume 3 written by Dr. Karim Abuzaid, and we're studying the 7 most lengthy chapters of the Quran. And tonight we're focusing in on Surat An-Nisa. Surat An-Nisa. And in this chapter, what we're going to do tonight is focus on the verses of Surat An-Nisa that address empathy, that address empathy and compassion. Empathy and compassion. And let me put the PowerPoint up on the screen for tonight's discussion. For those of you who are watching me on a platform other than YouTube or Facebook that can see the PowerPoint, please open up a tab on your cell phone to YouTube and go to my channel Sunnah Followers, and click on the live stream tab. So that way you can see the PowerPoint that I'm getting ready to put on the screen right now. And this is the book. If you have not yet purchased the book, please go to Amazon and buy a copy of this book. And tonight we're going to continue with chapter 3.3.2 of this amazing book. We're going to begin with the heading that says the verses addressing living with compassion. And before we get off into those verses, I'm going to answer the question that I left you guys with at the last class: the difference between empathy and sympathy. Sympathy inquires feeling sympathetic towards a person, having pity upon a person, whereas being empathetic for a person is different. Being empathetic requires putting yourself in the shoes of another person and imagining what you would do were you in their circumstance. That's the difference. When a person is sympathetic towards someone, oftentimes pity takes over, and we may end up transgressing the limits of a law out of pity. Whereas when we empathize for an individual or we empathize for a cause, it's different, because we're imagining ourselves in that instance. It causes us to self-reflect. We think about cause and effect. Whereas when you're sympathizing, you think about effect, but not cause. Whereas when you're empathizing, it's always cause and effect. You think about consequences. Whereas when you're sympathizing, it's not consequences. It's, oh, me, effect, lack of consequences. So that's the difference between the two. Well, Islam teaches us to be more empathetic towards others, to put ourselves in the shoes of others, because this requires cause and effect. We think about the consequences. And Surat An-Nisa, this chapter of the Quran, the verses in this chapter are all about justice. When you empathize, when you think about cause and effect, you think about justice. Justice is not always thought about. Justice is not always the end result when you sympathize. Sympathizers do not always end up standing up for justice, okay? But when you empathize, it always ends up being just. So let's take a look at the verses addressing living with compassion and empathy in this amazing chapter of the Quran, which also shows how Islam is not just a religion, but it's also a wonderful, divinely inspired way of life. And it all can be found in this one verse, this one verse of this chapter, verse 36. When you read and ponder the meaning of verse 36 of Surat An-Nisa, you find that it's a testament. That one verse is a testament to Islam's comprehensive vision of a society that's built on compassion, justice, and mutual respect, because it enumerates, this one verse enumerates 10 distinct yet interconnected areas of ethical conduct and responsibility, and each one contributes to the fabric of a harmonious and caring community. And let's take a look at them. Number one, at the heart of Islamic life is the worship of Allah. And this is a commitment that transcends mere ritual to embody a way of life infused with mindfulness of the divine. This foundational aspect of faith is the ultimate anchor for all other duties and moral obligations, and it guides the believers in their interactions with others, and it also guides the believers in their decision makings. Subhanallah. For example, parents, when you read this chapter, this verse of this chapter, verse 36, it addresses the parents because it gives Islamic ethics that emphasize that we should treat our parents with kindness and respect. It gives a directive that acknowledges the parent as the one who sacrifices for their children and positions piety as a critical expression of faith and gratitude. So this one verse of the Quran, lays down the law that parents are to be respected. And not just the parents. Also, Islam encourages strengthening kinship ties by recognizing the cohesive force that relationships exert within wider social fabrics. So by nurturing bonds with our relatives, this is how we can cultivate a sense of belonging and mutual support that buffers against the hardships of life. When life gets hard, when finances become hard, we can always turn for support to our family, for help, our family members. So verse 36 of this chapter not only encourages us to treat our parents with kindness and respect, but to also strengthen and keep the ties of our relatives strong, because you're going to need them. There's an unconditional love that we have with our relatives. And not just that, but also this verse of this chapter calls for us to protect and support the orphans, because again, not everyone in society, is protected. We have to look out for those who are vulnerable. And the most vulnerable people of society outside of women are the orphans who have no family relatives to protect them. So this chapter of the Quran lays down, empathy, the laws of empathy that we should have for, the orphans, the well-being of orphans. We should always try to help them and look out for their immediate needs and show compassion towards them, empathy towards them. And it speaks about the rewards we get for doing so. Subhanallah. And also the needy, those people in our communities who are needy, the obligation to assist the poor. This underscores communal responsibility towards those who are less fortunate than us. All of us are in different levels, financial levels of status, subhanAllah. Some of us are less fortunate than others. So this commitment to social welfare and the alleviation of suffering is a practical manifestation of Islamic principles of charity and empathy again. Put yourself in the shoes of the next person. Wouldn't you want someone to be there to help you in your tough times? Lend a hand, a helping hand for the person who's less fortunate than you. This verse 36 of An-Nisa, encourages us to help those who are less fortunate. And also to empathize for your neighbors. Show compassion to those neighbors who are close to you. Subhanallah. Be considerate. Be cooperative. Be friendly with your neighbors. Our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam even went so far as to say, when you cook a pot of soup, put a little bit of extra water in it and offer some to your neighbor. Subhanallah, you don't know what your neighbor's going through. You make a pot of soup. You know how delicious the smell is. The smell of that soup can travel through the walls. Your neighbor might be hungry. Your neighbor, he might be going through a tough time trying to pay his rent, trying to buy food for his family, and they smell the stew that you're cooking. Put a little extra water in it. Make a little pot and take it next door and offer it to him and his family. As our Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, if it's enough for 2, it'll be enough for 3. If it's enough for 4, it'll be enough for 5. Subhanallah, just put a little bit of extra water in it and offer it to your neighbor, because you never know, what hard times they're going through. So that's empathy. That's compassion. That's recognizing the significance of positive neighborly relations. And that's how we build safe and supportive environments, especially living in 2025, soon to be 2026. And this is also good dawah. This is good dawah. Subhanallah. That lady who lives across from you, she has no husband, but she's got 3 children. She works so hard. She works so hard. When you cook a pot of roast, take an extra plate over there to her. Tell her, I know you worked hard. I know that this is your day off. I made a pot roast. Here, I wanted to share this with you. A special treat for you for your day off. Subhanallah. And even our neighbors who are not so close, extending kindness to the distant neighbors or even the stranger reinforces the universal scope of Islamic compassion. This ensures that acts of goodwill permeate society at large and cross geographical and social boundaries. Subhanallah, you're here on the website, you're in my Zoom room. A new Shahada joins my Zoom room, and she's here to learn Islam. And you hear her say, I just converted to Islam, Sister Laila. I have 3 hijabs. Oh, that's a wonderful hijab you have on, Sister Laila. I wished I had some more. So you hear her say that. So you send her, you ask for her address, and you send her a box of kimars that you have, some kimars that you don't wear that much of. You know, subhanAllah, that's your sister in Islam. And she's also a stranger, a neighbor on the Zoom room. But she's a distant neighbor. So you send her a box of kimars, you know, subhanAllah. That's extending kindness, you know. What a good thing to do. This chapter, this verse 36 of An-Nisa, it speaks about this. It speaks about showing kindness, empathy to the distant stranger. And also showing empathy, compassion, kindness to your friends. This is something that we don't get enough of today, especially when oftentimes we have the kind of friends that smile in our face and then they'll stab us in the back. It's so hard, especially dealing with women, because women are the most treacherous creatures that Allah created. I've experienced that. I experience it all the time. And I'm sure many of you have experienced it as well. You know, being respectful and considerate of everyday acquaintances and colleagues, you know, this reflects the broader Islamic ethos of dignity and courtesy. Such conduct strengthens social bonds and promotes a culture of mutual respect. For those of us who have to work, you know, try to be respectful and considerate of your coworkers. For those of us who have to deal, you know, with people outside of the job, when you meet them on the street, be respectful and considerate. For those of us who do have to deal with other people, even in a learning environment like my Zoom room, be respectful and considerate, you know. Try to leave all the backstabbing and all that crap out of it. And I know that's hard to do because especially even dealing with Muslim women, the smile in your face, stab you in the back is there. I know it. I have to deal with it all the time too. But let's try to just be respectful and considerate in our treatment and leave all that jahiliyyah, you know, out of it. This chapter teaches, you know, to be respectful and considerate, to try to be sisters in Islam and stop being enemies to each other. And also have compassion with the traveler, helping people who are traveling. This embodies Islam's generous spirit of hospitality, to recognize the vulnerability of those who are away from home. This type of guidance encourages the believers to offer support and help to travelers. This reflects our religious universal values of kindness and hospitality. One of the hardest things to do is travel because you're in a strange place, you're around strange people, you're out of your norm. You know, a kind, hospitable person, you know, a compassionate person, you know, to be there to support you and help you, that goes a long way. This verse of this chapter encourages that. And this last thing that this chapter speaks about, the right hand possession, let's speak about that for a minute. First of all, what is a right hand possession? We don't have any right hand possessions today. Right hand possessions are the captives of war. If we were fighting a war under a caliph, then any prisoners, any women taken as prisoners of war would be your right hand possessions. And they demand compassion, to be treated with compassion. We don't have a caliph, and we are not fighting in a war. So there are no right hand possessions today. In 2025, soon to be 2026, I repeat, there are no right hand possessions. So anyone claiming that he has right hand possessions, he is mentally deranged. There are no right hand possessions today. Okay? But when the day comes that we do have a caliph and we are at war and there are right hand possessions, this verse speaks about how any women taken as prisoners of war are to be treated as humans and to be cared for, treated with dignity and fair, to be fed, taken care of, given medical treatment, given a home, and all of that. But like I said, we are not at war, and we are not at war. So I want to emphasize that, because unfortunately, there's a lot of mentally deranged people who call themselves Muslims in the world today, who may think we are at war, but we're not. Okay? So in essence, the 36th verse of Surat An-Nisa offers a blueprint for living a life of ethical integrity and social responsibility. It encapsulates the interconnectedness of worship and moral conduct, modeling an ideal Islamic society where justice, kindness, and mutual respect are not ideals, but instead they are lived realities. And through adherence to these principles, the true believers are reminded of their duty to contribute positively to the welfare of their community and the world at large. And also, this chapter of the Quran teaches us to uphold justice, not just with ourselves, but with non-Muslim minorities as well. And this is important. The emphasis on justice for non-Muslim minorities reflects a fundamental Islamic principle. The universality of justice that transcends religious, ethnic, and tribal boundaries is emphasized in verses 105 through 113 of this chapter of the Quran. Okay? And what happened to cause Allah to send down these verses? What happened in history during the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to cause Allah to send down verses 105 through 113? Well, this was the incident of accusation of theft against a Jew of the tribe of Zafar, which is one of the clans of the Ansar. A man named Tuma stole the armor of another Ansari, and he hid it in the house of a Jew. The issue was brought before the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam for him to educate. Okay? The event unfolded against a backdrop of intertribal tensions and suspicion, which threatened the social fabric of the Medinan community. The accusation if it was not addressed or if it had been mishandled, could have led to a lot of conflicts. Instead, it became an opportunity to reinforce the principles of justice and impartiality. Because remember, that's why the Ansar wanted the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to come and migrate to Medina. They wanted him to judge between them and the Jews and to handle a lot of conflicts. Okay? So anyway, we have to remember that true justice can only be attained through Allah's wisdom. True justice cannot be attained from bias or partisanship. So, a community of believers must resist deceit. The community of believers must be able to ensure that judgments are based on truth and fairness, not personal gain, not based on biases. So, by the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam being a prophet of Allah and a bearer of revelation, he was able to judge between the disputes of the people of Medina. And his judgment, was based on what he knew to be true from Allah, alhamdulillah. So these verses underscore the value of accountability and the spiritual and social ramifications of injustice and deceit. A person should not blemish their own character by advocating for someone who conceals their falsehood. Okay. So, falsely accusing innocent people is a grave sin in Islam, and it's a clear action of bearing false witness. This strong stance against false accusations reinforces the sanctity of justice and the severe consequences of undermining it with dishonesty. And that's what those verses of the Quran speak about. Those verses speak against falsely accusing innocent people. Those verses speak about the grave sin of it. While the leader of a Muslim community today cannot have the support of Allah in their favor like the Prophet Muhammad did, still the leaders of Muslims communities today have to really be careful when they render decisions. They cannot falsely accuse people, and they have to really, really, really be careful when it comes to rendering their decisions. As our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "You may come to me to settle disputes for you, but I am only a human. Some of you may be more eloquent in your speech than others. And if I end up passing judgment in favor of you, and that judgment is against your brother's rights, then I am giving you the hellfire." In other words, the prophet was saying, some of you may come to me to settle a case for you. You may be a better speaker than your brother, and I may rule in favor of you because you spoke better. But even though I ruled in favor of you, what I'm giving you is the hellfire, because you were able to twist your words around and lie. You may think you've won, but in reality, you're the loser. So we have to be careful of bearing false witnesses like that, guys. We can't bear false witnesses like that. This is a serious sin. And those verses of Surat An-Nisa articulate, how serious a sin that is. The emphasis on equitable treatment of non-Muslim minorities speaks to Islam's commitment to justice for all. It doesn't matter if it's a Muslim or a non-Muslim. We have to show justice for all. Allah doesn't like lying. Allah doesn't like a liar. Allah doesn't like oppression, even if it's against a non-believer. We have to be just in all of our dealings. And that shows the compassion of Allah, that shows the compassion of Islam, and that shows the compassion that you and I are supposed to have for others. Okay? Empathy. Put yourself in that person's shoes. Would you want somebody to lie on you just because you are of a different religion? Would you want somebody to treat you wrongly just because you are of a different color, a different faith, a different country, a different language than they? That's the difference between sympathy and empathy. Islam encourages empathy, not sympathy. All right, so that's our lesson, Maqasidic lesson for today, from Surat An-Nisa, the verses addressing compassion and empathy as opposed to sympathy. Are there any questions or comments? Any questions or comments? Okay, I'm going to stop right here for today. I want to remind everyone that I'll have these shorts out tomorrow. The shorts from today's classes, I'll try to have out tomorrow. Please go to my YouTube channel. Click on the tab that says shorts. That's where you will find the shorts from yesterday and all the other classes. I'm trying to put them out every day. The work is hard. You guys don't know. I spend so much time here on the internet making those shorts. That's why we need your donations. As you guys can see, I'm using some good programs to put the shorts out. And that's why we need your donations to pay for the programs I'm using. We are a nonprofit organization. I don't have any help. I'm doing everything myself. All the PowerPoint, all the videos, all the remakes, the editing, the splicing, the SEO coding, everything is done by me. And so to make it easier for myself, I'm using a lot of AI programs. So I had to up the money I'm paying. I pay by the month for the programs I'm using. I had to increase what I'm paying because AI is like having people work for me. So it's me and all my hands, and I got the AI as my people. So I had to raise the amount of money I'm paying each month. So please support this dawah effort, guys, because I went up on the bills, have had to increase so I can have the AI work with me like they people. So please support this dawah effort. And we need $500 more to cover this website expenses for this month. So we need $500. For the people that has recently donated, may Allah bless you because your donations were right on time. Bills are coming out. Your donations are covering the bills that's coming out. So please donate to support us. You can donate using Cash App, PayPal, or I like this person's clap. This person's on Kick. Look at that little thing. Can y'all see that little thing that he got on Kick? It's clapping. Y'all, Sister Sakina, can y'all see that little thing on from Kick? That's one of the guys on Kick. He's clapping. Can you see it clapping? He's clapping. I guess he liked my lecture. He's clapping. It's kind of cute. Whatever it is, it's clapping his hands. It liked my lecture. He's clapping. It's cute. It's clapping. Okay. All right. Okay, so please support this dawah effort, guys. Please send in your donations to support this dawah effort. And I'll try to put the shorts out from today's lecture. I'll have them out in the morning. It's just too much videos for me for one day. I've been making videos all day. So please support us. And yes, tomorrow is what? Wednesday? Yeah, tomorrow we have the 6:30 class. I'll be continuing. I'll continue with the essentials of faith. Yes, the 6:30 class and Riyadh Salihin. Yeah, the 6:30 class and Riyadh Salihin is tomorrow. Yeah, and Riyadh Salihin. Okay, all right. So I'm gonna log out for tonight. Thank you for the clap. That's weird. It looks like a little frog clapping. Okay, Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Assalamu alaikum. See you guys tomorrow.